It's 4 o'clock. We'll call the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners to attention for a full board meeting. Linda, are you taking the roll calls and whatnot?
I am.
Okay, we'll start with the invocation. Is Rilstein here?
Yeah.
Okay. Rilstein, would you do the invocation, please?
Let us pray. Dear God, we come to you today in a spirit of thanksgiving. We thank you for all that you have done for us during this pandemic. We thank you for the seasons that you offer, allowing us to do good in the sunshine. We ask, dear Lord, that you heal our country and eliminate the biases that we experience in our day-to-day lives. And please continue to make us brothers and sisters, all on a mission to make us, our families, exist in harmony. This we ask in your sake forever. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Wilkins. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. I know I didn't ask anybody, but Commissioner Pego, would you lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Pego. Okay, Linda, if you could take the roll, please, and be sure to give your location.
Commissioner Brown,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Seer,
Here, Twin Lake, Michigan.
Commissioner Heavy Wright,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Hughes,
Here, Muskegon Township.
Commissioner Laring,
Here, Muskegon County Hall of Justice.
Vice Chair Nash,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Pago,
Here, Muskegon County Hall of Justice.
Chairman Skolnick,
Here, City of Norton Shores.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Here, Muskegon County Hall of Justice.
9 present.
Okay, thank you, Linda. The next item is the approval of the agenda. I would entertain a motion to make such an approval.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. It's been supported. Are there any questions, changes, concerns? If not, we'll vote. Linda, roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavy Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the approval of the regular and closed session minutes of May 11th, 2021. I need a motion for that, please.
So move.
Support.
Motion by Nash, support by Hughes. Is there any, are there any comments, corrections, any issues with the regular and closed session minutes of May 11th? If not, another roll call, Linda, please.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavy Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yeah.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
And my vote is yes.
9 yes.
Okay, the next item is a presentation from Kathy Moore, our Director of Public Health, on the status of COVID-19. Mrs. Moore?
Yes, hi. So this is just a very quick update, and I believe that I need to share my screen now. And I need to figure that out here. So There it is. 2 slides for you guys today. I just need to go from the beginning here. Okay, there. COVID-19 status in Muskegon County. Our numbers are improving every day. So the chart at the top left, 2 weeks ago, our positivity rate was 17.4%. Last week, 13.6, and today, and even though the number is 521, it's today because that's the most current the state has, because it takes about 3 days to get results entered into the state database. So today it's 11.8, but I can tell you, if this was the number for 525, it would be even less. The average number of cases daily 2 weeks ago, it was 184. Last week, 117. And currently, I don't want to say a mere, but 32. The number of daily cases per 100,000 residents from 38 2 weeks ago to 37 last week, and now 19. The other corner here, our vaccine coverage, 52.9%. That has increased by a couple of percentage points over the last couple of weeks, but demand is way down, almost minuscule. But we are seeing incremental increases each day or per week. Hospitalization rates, that's something we've always been concerned about. The statewide average 7.4 as of yesterday. The Grand Rapids region, which includes Muskegon County and 9 other counties, but it includes all the hospitals within that region, 9.6%. And then the chart at the bottom is our Mercy Health Hospital hospitalizations, which as of today, 34 adults on the floor with COVID-19, 12 of those 34 in ICU, and 7 of the 34 on the ventilator system. I think I just hit page down. So we
Mr. Chair, can I ask Kathy a
Oh.
question?
yes.
Bob, can I?
Oh, I'm sorry, Zach. Yes, go ahead.
Kathy, can we go? Yep. I have a question about the positivity rate. Can you explain the percentage? How do you come to that? Is this just people that think they might have COVID, and so they go down and get tested, and then it only comes back? Everybody that thinks they have it, 11.8% is the positivity rate of people that want to get tested. Am I understanding that correctly?
You are right. So these are people who went for the PCR test, which is the very uncomfortable test. There are lots of antigen, rapid antigen tests occurring at the schools every day. And of course, most of those, 99.8% are negative. That's not included. And so then those who are positive, they have to take the lab test. And then other people who have symptoms, other people who maybe have a family member or a loved one, they are taking the test. So this is of all those people who took the test, 11.8%, on average, 32 of them per day were positive. So that does not reflect our community rate. It's just the rate of positive test results.
So
Mr. Chair,
can I ask another question, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
So what is the symptomatic issue that would send somebody down to go through all the hassle of getting a test, let alone the discomfort of it? What are causing these people to even go get tested when 88% of them apparently feel like they're sick to go through all this hassle, and then they come back, there's nothing wrong with them? I'm just wondering, or they got the flu? What's going on?
So I'm sorry, I forgot. There's another portion of that. So everybody who is scheduled to go into the hospital for a surgery or a procedure would have to get tested as well. So that's another group of people, and it's probably a big percentage as well.
So do you have that percentage or that are being mandated to get tested for some procedure? I mean, is it 50% of the, it seems odd to me that somebody would feel that ill that they would go get tested. So there's got to be something else going on with these test numbers.
Well, and then now the long-term care facilities are required to test regularly their residents and their staff.
So you're saying a high percentage of these are actually mandated testing for a medical procedure. I mean, this isn't people just coming down to the health department asking to get tested because they're going to die. These are people are being mandated because they want to have a surgery or something like that, a large percentage.
Absolutely, and no testing at public health at all. But these people, because we are public health, we get all the results, and that's why I report it. These are people who were tested at Mercy Health, at Walgreens, CVS, Hackley Community Care, Muskegon Family Care, as well as Health West on our behalf. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Marcia, go ahead.
Yeah, Kathy, on the COVID vaccine coverage, does the total number include age 12 and above, all those available to be tested? Or does it include the entire population?
It only includes, this number includes those eligible age
Okay.
16 and up. So there is a different group, 12 through 15, that's not part of the denominator. The state of Michigan said that they weren't adding them to the denominator. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've seen about 1,000 of those kids vaccinated in that age group.
Okay,
Oh, and I just have one more page there, which is, this is the deaths, the related deaths. And we have seen cases again in the long-term care facilities, and most of the deaths are of course following the same trend even prior to vaccination by age. And that's our statistic there. And that concludes it. I only had 2 slides for you today.
okay.
Kathy, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Seer, go ahead.
Kathy, the deaths that you just mentioned, is there any comorbidities that are associated with those deaths? Is there any way to know that?
Absolutely. And an example would be over the weekend, I went back and forth with the state epidemiologist. We had a 101-year-old that died, and it could have been considered a natural death, except she was diagnosed positively with COVID within the previous 30 days, and so that was recorded. So most of these cases, if not all, are comorbidities as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kathy, I have a question for you too.
Yes.
I was looking to make some plane reservations.
Yes.
And they're requiring, in order to fly, they're requiring a COVID test 3 days, no more than 3 days before you fly. So how do people do that?
That probably would be best if we can connect you with Health West. Otherwise, there are, the pharmacies, they have tests too, like Walgreens and CVS. I just don't know all their stipulations, and sometimes they'll test and sometimes they're not. So we'll send you a link, Bob, to make that happen.
Okay, I mean, it's not just me. I was looking, that was American Airlines. It was on their website.
Yeah,
So-
I just heard last week that people can also purchase a test. I haven't, I don't know all the details around that, but it's my understanding that you can also purchase a test over the counter, and that is considered a legitimate test. I'm just not sure if you'll get your results back in that short time frame.
Kathy, could you try that for us so we can see how that works?
Yeah, I'll do it tonight, and report back next week.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
actually,
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chair, I can actually comment that you can call Walgreens and get the antigen test in a box for $23. I had to provide a negative test to get back to work. So I can tell you from experience that it's for $23, you get 2 tests and you don't have to stay in a line. Just take it home and do your own test.
Huh.
And it's fairly accurate, I can tell you that.
Did you get your results right away? So it's an instant.
It's instant, 15 minutes, and I had my results.
Oh.
Okay.
Good to know. And Bob,
Yes,
I just flew American to New Hampshire and back yesterday, and we were not required to have tests, but everybody in the airport and everybody on the plane had masks on. So make sure you take masks.
okay.
It could
Okay.
change, I'm sure, but that's what it is today.
Okay, so no one else has any questions for the health director? And if not, we'll move on. If you could put the agenda back up on the screen. Okay, now we're on item 8, public comment on an agenda item. There are 44 people on the call. If anybody would like to make a public comment on an agenda item, now is your opportunity. I don't see any, I'm scrolling down to the bottom. I don't see any hands up. Does anyone?
I do not either.
Okay, then we'll move on to committee and board reports. And the first one is community development, and the chair of that committee is Commissioner Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Community Development Strategic Plan Committee met on May 13th, 2021. It was recommended I move CDSP 21/05-12. And normally I wouldn't read this, but I think it's important to know that to adopt the Heritage Landing Event Agreement with Unity Christian Events Alive on the Lake Shore to provide a license for the use of Heritage Landing August 11th through the 14th, 2021 for the Unity Christian Music Festival, and to authorize the chairperson of the county board to execute the agreement. We're very excited to have them, and from what I talked to Mr. Lukens this morning, Unity Christian is in full force to go. So anyway,
Support. Do you have support out there?
Okay, we have a motion and it's been supported.
that's the end of my report for today.
No, okay, well, we're gonna
We
have to,
gotta vote on it.
we'll have to vote on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there, that's excellent news. Is there any comments or any questions about that? If not, roll call, please, Linda.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, that passes. The next item is the report of the Ways and Means Committee, and that would be by the Commissioner of the North, Commissioner Seer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Ways and Means Committee met on May 18th, 2021. It was recommended and I move on items W1 21/05-51, -52, -53, and -54.
Support.
Okay, are there any questions on any of this? And for anyone in the public that maybe be tuning in for the first time, these items have been discussed several times prior to this extensively. And it may appear that we're voting without considering these, but they've been considered several times. So are there any questions? If not, Linda, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
on all,
Yes on all. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes on all.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes on all.
My God.
Excuse me.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes, on 51 through 54.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes on all.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes on all.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes on all. So
Chair,
that may be a record, I'm not sure.
I think it is.
Chairman Skolnick, I have something to add to my report if I might.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Seer.
I just was in a meeting with the Windsor Group, and I'm going to read this to you. They have received final MDOT approval for the Regional Transit Governance Study subcontract with SRF Consulting late last week. They've executed the contract and anticipate to kick off a meeting later this week or early next week. They're on schedule to begin the study process starting June 1st.
Excellent.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So the MAT's possible transition to an authority, that's a major step for that.
Yeah, it's moving along.
All right, now, next would be, let me get that up on my screen here, is the chairman's report. And I have a couple of items. One is for those who are interested, the Midwest Professional Volleyball Association Tournament #1 of 2021 will be held Saturday, May 29th, beginning at 9 a.m. through Sunday, May 30th, 6 p.m. at Pierre Marquette Park. And on Sunday, May 30th at 12:30 p.m., the annual blessing of the boats will be held. Boats will head up the Muskegon Channel towards Lake Michigan to the south, Breakwater Cove, and you can enjoy the ceremonial lighthouse washing representing the start of the boating season. I have done that. If you have a boat, you can get some holy water thrown on your boat, and hopefully it'll be good for the season. And the final item is the continued appointment of Mark Eisenbarth as the administrator. You were all sent a copy of his, there's some feedback.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
do we need to move to vote on this? Can
Yeah.
you make the motion to approve the continued appointment of Mark Eisenbarth as the administrator of Muskegon County effective May 26, 2021 with the amendment for a 1-year contract and authorize board chair to sign the employment contract and also amend to no current raise.
okay, so the contract called for, what was in the contract was 3 years, so we don't have, typically they've been 3-year contracts. It was a 1-year contract last time because of the timing of the contract and when the election of the commissioners happened. So the motion that I'm proposing is 3 years.
I just made a motion to amend that to a 1-year contract with no raise. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so you made a motion to do it for 1 year with what? I'm sorry, there was more?
No raise. Somebody needs to turn off their phone.
Somebody has got two devices open.
I think it's Melinda, because when she turns her, when she
It's-
unmutes,
So We're in the
Melinda.
boardroom and they're having technical difficulties and Willis Beans is on when the rest of us are talking. So I'm just trying to mute myself, only have it on when I'm talking.
Okay. All right, so,
Bob, I have a comment if I could.
yes, go ahead, Susie.
I was chairman when we when we renewed Mark's contract the last time. And the way the years worked out, it was only possible for us to renew it for 1 year. I would definitely support going for 3 years, and I would definitely support a raise. I can tell you that there's no way our administrator should make less than any of the department heads that he oversees. And right now, that's the way it is. So I would definitely like to see that raise included, and I would like to see it for 3 years. It's very disrespectful, I think, to an administrator who's got the experience and put in the effort that Mark has to not extend his contract for 3 years after he's already, been there 1 year. He's been there for years, but we had to extend it for 1 year because of the way it was written. So I would really rather have it 3 years. So I would be against this motion for 1 year with no raise.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair,
Mrs. Wilkins, yes.
yes, I agree with Susie. I think that we were left behind on this, so we should correct it. It should not continue to go as it is. The contract.
Marcia, did you have a comment?
yes, and having read the contract, it does say that no department head can make more than Mark. And that was what, when one of the other department heads got a significant raise, it bumped Mark up by, in my view, by contract. And now there's nothing in there that says, and it is a sizable raise, and it is a lot more than the cost of living. But if it stays the same over 3 years, then it would be a reasonable increase. So
Melinda's.
Chair, may I?
it is, I would support a 3-year contract with the raise that's listed.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment if I may.
Yes, Mr. Larry.
So I would like to see what our directors are making. I do not believe that all of our directors are making more than Mark. I would like to get a list of what the director's pay actually is. So I'm quite confident there's several of them that don't make this.
No, there's just one that's higher, and it was a
Okay,
recent.
Marcia, you can't just do that.
Sorry.
Okay, Marcia, go ahead.
Bob, I have a comment if I could.
Well, let me recognize Marcia first. Or not,
Yeah,
Marcia, yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't think anybody, thank you, Bob. I don't think anybody said that more than one director's made more, but one does as a following the most recent raise. And I wasn't there for that vote, so I can't speak to why it was that much, but I don't know. I think we need to be more mindful of how they all how they all line up in the future. So we're not in this situation, but Mark does a great job. He's respectful to both sides. He follows up on all the details, gets us information. He's doing a very good job. And so.
Okay, Susan.
Yeah,
do you
Mr.
have a-
Chair.
Just
I
a
was
minute,
just-
Kim. Susan,
Susan, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Susan,
I just wanted to explain, Zach, I'm sorry if I made it sound like that more than a lot of the directors are making more than him. I just mean he should not get paid less than any director he supervises. That's all. I wasn't singling out any group of directors or anything. Just he should not make less than the people he supervises.
Commissioner
So I have
Sear,
some follow-up to Susie's comment. So the directors that she's talking about are elected officials. Mark doesn't really have a lot of control.
No, that's not true. I'm
No.
not talking
Okay.
about elected officials. They're not directors. They're elected officials. I'm talking about department head directors.
okay.
So are you suggesting the sheriff is not an elected official?
I'm not
Or
talking
director?
about elected officials. I'm talking
He is the
about,
director of the
Okay,
sheriff's department.
all right. Commissioner Sear,
Mark, as far as I'm concerned, is doing a good job. Whether it's 1 year or 3 years doesn't really concern me. One of the things that I had when I ran for this position was fiscal responsibility. The situation with another director making more money, I'm not sure how that relates or how that even happens, if that was a rule somewhere that was set up, or I guess I'm not sure about that. But I checked on, there were probably, I think 59 counties on a compensation list I got from the MAC people. And with this increase, it looks like he is probably going to be the highest paid of those 59 counties. I don't know about the other counties because they're not in here. But it looks like he would be actually making more money even than Ottawa County, which has approximately the same number of employees that are being managed as we do. It's very close, and it looks like possibly even more than the Kent County. Just making those comparisons, I guess I'm a little concerned with the raise.
Is that a current list, Kim?
No, that is not a current list. It's a 2015 list, but I increased all of those pays numbers by 10%, given over the last 5 years, cost of living has probably been around that number.
Okay, if I could, and I tried to get Mark, he's been trying to get me those numbers. I know I did get the numbers from Kent, and his salary went up 15%. He currently makes $245,000. So that's
Is
way
that the
more.
administrator at Kent County you're talking
That is,
about?
that is correct.
Thank you.
It's a much bigger.
Need to cover-
Yeah, I was gonna say it's much higher than that.
So, all right,
Mr. Chair?
yes, Mr. Nash.
Well, I just wanted to share with everyone that, Mark is a significant. Mark is a significant find. He has actually been a blessing to the county. We've been bouncing through administrators previously before. It's a hard task to find a administrator that will commit to your county, not looking for other jobs, which he could be doing, but made the commitment with us years ago that he would do a long-term stint here at Muskegon County, at least 10 years, which I think has really been a blessing for us. And we've been able to make some good progress without having to skip these different beats. And it's good to have an administrator that you can trust. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we've got an administrator that we can trust, we can believe in, and that's doing the best for Muskegon County. And I think that, yes, that does deserve a reward. And if you want to keep a good administrator, you take care of a good administrator.
I
Okay,
agree.
so a motion has been made and supported to not increase the salary, and instead of a 3-year contract, authorize just a 1-year contract. I personally can't support that, but that's not my call. Linda, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
No.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
No,
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Commissioner Seer,
No,
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
No,
Commissioner Hughes,
No,
Chairman Skolnick.
No.
Mr. Chair?
go ahead.
Wait, just a minute, Mr. Nash. Linda, give us the count is what?
7-2.
2 yes, 7 no.
Okay. Okay, yes, Commissioner Nash.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to approve entering into a 5-year lease agreement.
3
A
years.
5-year.
Wait,
I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Muskegon County Board of Commissioners move to approve the continued appointment of Mark Eisbart as the administrator of Muskegon County effective May 26, 2021 for 3 years, and authorize the board chairman, Robert Skolnick, to sign the employment contract.
Second.
Okay. Is there any other any other comments on this? I know, well, no, I don't know anything. Does anyone, Marcia? Yes.
Yeah, just a small thing. This is for Mr. Seer. In his contract, there is a sentence that says that no director can make more than he can. So there, it's part of the contract. Just a FYI.
So we can just keep increasing directors' pay
Well, no, I mean, that's kind of
arbitrarily.
going forward.
We're gonna look at that going forward.
Yeah, yeah. Because yeah.
Anybody else? If
Mr.
not,
Chair.
Yes.
Mike Comier. I just want to make sure that I'm clear that the motion was to authorize the execution of a 3-year contract, but there was no discussion of the rate of pay, or there was no inclusion of anything in that motion. So I want to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what the rate of pay will be over that 3-year period.
Okay,
I thought it was
It's in the
to,
contract.
it was in the contract.
I believe it was a 4.78% increase.
Charles, your motion is to approve the contract we were presented with, correct?
Correct.
And my second was for the contract we were presented with.
Okay, just wanted to
And
make sure. we were clear.
everyone viewed the contract prior to this meeting, so they know what's in it.
Yes.
Okay, Linda.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so can you clarify that 4.78 increase, is that each year, one time in the 3 years?
Hang on just a minute. I'm looking at the contract. Mark, there was a lot in this contract.
To the
If I may.
second, and third year. But it
If I
can't
may,
be
that's
less. That's what it
at
says.
step 5 is that, and there's a step 6. So when you reach step 6, it stops. So there's 2 steps, step this year for 5 and next year would be 6.
And then there is not any more after that.
Correct.
Okay, so there's one increase and you're at the top of the scale. Is that
This year
correct?
and next year.
Okay, so that's it. So if there are any further increases, it would be in the.
So
next-
that's 2 increases, just to clarify?
It'd be an increase right now and then one next year. And that's the third year, there'd be no increase.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Marcia,
yeah, that increase from step 5 to step 6 represents what percent?
Roughly at 5%. Usually the
5%.
steps, what you normally see in the county's employees is steps 1 through 6, and each step is roughly 5%.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so my next question, Mr. Chair,
yes.
are you ready? Okay.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can I ask another question? Okay. So
Yes,
my next question is, so for the next department head, whenever they come up to their next raise and it exceeds what the administrator's salary is, then what's gonna happen? You're gonna create a step 7? Or someone want to explain that, please? Thank you.
That would come back to the board.
it would come back to us when they reach the top of the step. Some people, it never goes higher than that. That's what it is. Mark, once you reach the top step, the only increase at that point is the cost of living.
Right, which the board approves that as well.
So the only increase beyond the top of the range would be the cost of living, and it could be nothing, or it could be 1 or 2%. There's actually an increase. There's a cap on that.
Okay, so help me,
So-
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So help me with this. So 4.8% this year, 6% next year, with additional cost of living increases added to both of those numbers. Is that correct?
Mark, it wasn't
Yeah.
6%.
Yeah, so it's 5%, but to answer your question, it has to be board approved. The board can choose to give commissioners raises. They can consider giving myself raises. They can consider giving the staff raises. So those are all spelled out each year with the contract. So that always comes back to the board for support or decline.
And that comes from HR, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Linda, roll call vote, please.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
So I had a
Commissioner
question.
Pago?
Mr.
I had a question. The boardroom was on mute, so I had to open up my own mic. Can I ask a question first?
Well, we've already started voting.
You know, we need to get our butts back in this boardroom so we can have a meeting. I had questions that aren't being answered because it was on mute in this boardroom.
I had no control over that.
I wasn't done either. Well, they're having IT problems over here. They told us to mute because that was working and now it wasn't working and we thought it was working. They're still working on the technology in the boardroom.
Well, Mr. Homier, we already started to vote. What do you suggest?
Well, to the extent the vote has been commenced, then I think the time for comment is done. Notwithstanding that, there are certainly irregularities doing meetings by video, so I'll leave that to the discretion of the chair.
Well, we've already started to vote. I mean, I asked for comments and there weren't any. I'm sorry if there was a technical thing, but anybody could have a technical problem at home. It happens. We plan on going back into in-person meetings at the latest, the end of June. It may be sooner. But I mean, this has been, for some people, this has been great. For others, this is just doing it this way hasn't been the best, but it's what we have. So Linda, keep going. You've already, I think Mr. Nash already voted. I don't know how many voted.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavy Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
I'm going to make my comment and my vote. I would like a pay raise too. And no.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
7 yes, 2 no.
Okay, that completes my report. The next item is the administrator's report. Mark?
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for that support and believing in me. And I truly do. Work hard for the Muskegon County as well as the commissioners and staff. I want to make sure that we're the best in the most growing community in the state. I'll continue to serve the best of my ability and to make sure each department thrives to their best ability as well. So thank you. The first item here is to authorize the county staff to pursue funding under the American Rescue Plan, coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, designate the board chair as authorized representatives.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Chair, I have a question, if I might.
Yes, Mr. Laring.
So can you give us an explanation of this board chair authorized representative? What does that mean? Did we get an email on this? I don't know exactly what this means.
There's an email, there's a board motion, and it explains down in the summary that just like any grant, we have to have permission to or assign someone to sign off on the grant. So they are requiring, and a lot of counties have already sent theirs in, they received the dollars already. So what the feds are wanting to do is to release these funds, half of it up front. And we just got to acknowledge that our chairman's signing on our behalf. The funds, obviously, we have lots of meetings to discuss what the funds can be used for. We cannot spend the funds until the board votes on what to spend it for.
Okay.
The third point is not clear yet exactly where the funds can be used. And then there's formulas to reimburse revenue loss as well. So we're working through all that. But right now they want us to send in our designated signature, which would be Chairman Bob Skolnick.
Thank you.
Okay, so the administrator has brought this forward, so we need we need a motion to do this. Is that
Yes,
correct?
We already
please.
have
So moved.
a motion is seconded.
Okay, a motion by Hughes, second by Commissioner Nash. Is there any other? This is really just a routine. It's really
Right.
a routine motion. Is there any other discussion? If not, Linda, roll call, please.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavy Right,
Yes,
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes,
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no.
Okay, thank you, Linda. And then we have unfinished business, CPS S 21/05-25 was, it says table, but it was postponed at the full board meeting on May 11th, 2021. I need a motion to remove this motion from the table.
so moved.
motion.
support.
Heavy Right.
Okay, so the motion, Heavy Right and Nash. The question was, why can't we use the cash pool to fund these vehicles? A memo was sent out. Beth, are you there?
Don't
Yes,
we
I
have to
am.
vote, Bob, to bring it back off the table?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we need to vote to take it off the table. All right, Linda, roll call, please.
Commissioner Wilkins, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavy Right,
Yes,
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Laring.
Oh,
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
No.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes,
Commissioner Pago.
No.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
7 yes, 2 no.
Okay, now, Beth Dick, our Director of Finance, there was a memo sent out. Hopefully you read it, but Beth, if you could please explain why this isn't a good idea.
Why this is a good idea?
Well, why it is not a good idea, about how the cash pool works.
Oh, well, actually, I'm recommending to enter into this lease because of the fact that we normally purchase
Yeah.
large capital items out of our equipment revolving fund, which again is, yes, we have this cash pool, but typically for financing of capital items, that comes from what we call the equipment revolving fund. And that fund has, over the last several years, the funding in that, the cash reserves have gone down substantially. So for the cost of 2.7% for interest on a lease, which equates to a little over $13,000, I think that's a better option from a future cash management standpoint to do this leasing arrangement rather than pay for it outright.
Bob, I have a question if I could.
Yes, Mrs. Hughes.
Beth, how much is in the cash pool?
In the cash pool,
Yeah,
the overall cash pool is about, well, I checked it last week, is about $50 million.
so
But-
why would we pay 2.5% on something that we've got $50 million sitting in the bank?
Because that's spread across multiple funds. And a lot of that is within enterprise funds.
How much did we spend last year in the cash pool?
Total expenditures overall for the county, it's a over a $200 million budget
How much did you take out
countywide.
of the cash pool?
Oh, Susan.
That's money going out. There's also money coming in. So I tried to explain the best I could in my memo that in looking at the cash pool, yes, like for example, with Health West, the money that's going out is being replaced with reimbursements from the state and federal government in terms of grant funds. So they're there can be negatives in certain funds at certain points in time in their overall cash balance, because we do track the cash by fund.
I just
But
have a problem. Beth, I have a problem with this when in the process of funding Health West, one of our other departments, we've put $10 million into them. They don't pay a dime's worth of interest on that, but you don't want to give the sheriff's department, that $188,000 without any interest. It just seems like you're treating one department totally different than you treat any other one.
so again, the Health West situation is different in that we have also an offsetting receivable on the books that we will be collecting that money to replace what Health West has spent. In this situation,
How much interest would we have paid on it in the last 5 years that they've owed us that?
I
We
would have
should
to
have
ask the
financed
treasurer's
that.
office what the average rate is, but it's probably something less than 2%.
And it's less than 5.
So in this instance, we're purchasing a vehicle that there's, or vehicles, 4 vehicles, where we're actually expending the money and there's not like a reimbursement that's coming back from any type of a granting agency. This is actually spending funds. We still do look at our cash on by a fund by fund basis in these types of situations. And again, vehicles, we typically purchase out of this equipment revolving fund, which at the end of fiscal 2020 had about an $82,000 cash reserve balance when you take into account upcoming liabilities. So, it's.
So we
the
don't
board-
purchase anything out of the cash pool.
Yes, we do purchase. The cash pool is the county's overall cash account across all funds. I'm speaking specifically about purchasing things like vehicles or capital items. We use what we call the equipment revolving fund.
Oh,
which
Mr. Chair, I had a
is-
question.
Yes, Mr. Nash, go ahead.
Beth, would it be possible to reimburse the cash pool through that revolving fund?
Yes, the equipment revolving fund is its cash is part of that cash pool. So
But
it's,
I understand what
one
Commissioner
cash
Cruz is trying to say is that we could save a lot of money by just doing it through the cash pool and reimbursing the cash pool with the revolving fund. And that way we save the interest.
yes. The cash pool is basically the one bank account that serves the county as a whole. And each fund within the county has a portion of that cash pool that we track within our ledger. Some funds have negative cash, some funds have positive cash, but overall, there is, a positive cash balance. But we do track each fund's balance, whether it's positive or negative, of that pool, as well as the investments that the treasurer's office invest, in more longer term investments.
Right
From my
now, are we getting more in money, interest in investments than we're spending in interest to buy the vehicles?
It's probably around the same at this 2.7%. I haven't checked with the treasurer's office lately, but I think we're only earning a little over 2%, somewhere probably between 2 and 3%.
So we could save more by paying these off out of the cash pool than we make on interest, putting the cash pool in the bank.
If I could just make a comment here, I would like to save the 13, whatever the interest on that amount of money is, as much as anybody else. The problem is that cash pool represents maybe 30 or I don't know how many funds, a lot of funds. So if you start using that, then you've got to allocate that among everybody. And it happens to be a cash pool, but it's not like all our money.
money
Call
is
the
it?
question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You
I
address,
call the question.
to address the chair, please.
You can't just call the question. You make a motion to call the question.
I make a motion to call the question.
Okay, is there support for that? Okay, so no support.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Wait a minute. You made a motion, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Homier, can I support that? Is that something I can do?
Yeah, I believe it is if you choose to, but I thought, and maybe I'm wrong about this, that there was no support and so you were moving on, but
Okay, there wasn't, but we're really not moving on. We're still discussing this.
We
All
can
right.
still discuss it. I can withdraw that.
Okay. All right, so, okay, everybody can, if there are other opinions on this or other things people want to say, I don't think we should consider this cash pool. And I was one of the ones who thought that might be a good idea. But after I read about it, it happens to be just the pooled cash for multiple funds. Beth, do you have any idea how many funds are in that?
I don't know the total. It's probably between 30 and 50. I don't have the exact number.
So that represents the cash in 30 to 50 different funds. And if we start taking money out of it, so each fund, the money that each fund puts in is carefully accounted for. Is that correct?
Yes.
Maybe I would like to make a motion to purchase the 4 interceptor vehicles for the sheriff's department for a value of $188,304.32 outright out of the cash pool.
Well, we've got a motion.
Second.
We've already got a motion on the floor for the.
No, we don't. We
I
don't have a
pulled-
motion on the floor.
I withdrew it.
The previous motion was
We already
already,
voted on to
No,
bring
we-
it off the table.
We voted to bring it off the table, Mr. Nash. There was no motion.
We didn't make a motion for that, and I just made a separate motion with a second.
Okay, so she made a motion to pay for that out of the cash pool. If I don't know how they would do it, but that's the
Write a
motion.
check.
And it was supported by Commissioner Pego.
Can I
I just
ask a
have a
question?
question.
I'm sorry, who spoke?
It was
Charles,
Beth.
did you?
Yeah. I just wanted to ask Beth, if we do this way, is it possible to track this fund from the revolving fund through the cash pool?
That's exactly where it will end up getting paid out of, is the equipment revolving fund, because it's our internal, it will be out of the cash of the equipment revolving fund, because that's our internal financing fund for capital purchases like this. So that's
We
where
do have enough in the revolving fund to cover this 188.
we didn't as of the end of last fiscal year, but it looks like based on the current year budget, there will be funds by the end of the year. So based on the timing of whenever the vehicles are ready, it could work out that way, but that's based on a budget estimate at this point in time.
Okay.
Okay, and does that, I don't know that we're gonna, so the 2.7% interest that would have been paid to the leasing company so that is money that we wouldn't have to pay.
Right.
So that 13,000 that we would save, does that accrue to the county general fund, or does that accrue to the sheriff's department?
We budgeted that they would be paying interest in the 2021 budget, so that would be less that they would have to pay. They would save that.
The sheriff's department.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, so there's a motion. There's a motion to pay this out of the cash pool, and it would actually, I don't know, was that the motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I guess we have a roll call vote. Linda?
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
yes.
Commissioner Heavy Right,
No,
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
No,
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
No. That's a strange vote.
not party line.
5 yes, 4 no.
Okay,
That passes.
all right, so that one passes. So next is new business. Is there any new business? Well,
Mr. Chair?
yes.
Mr. Chair, I have an item of old business, if I may.
Okay,
Finished, there we go.
Unfinished business.
Or unfinished business, yes.
yeah, okay.
So my issue is if we can look at the top of the agenda only gives one location for these meetings, which is Zoom. I actually, so it's a part of old business or unfinished business. I would like to make a motion that both locations are mentioned in the meeting minutes for that we would have two locations, the Hall of Justice and Zoom, so people can attend in person if they would like.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to have to add the Hall of Justice to the location.
I have a question on that, Bob, if I could.
Yes, okay, wait a minute. So we have a motion. It was supported, correct? Yes, Susie, Commissioner Hughes, go ahead.
I wondered, does that break any rules that we have at the county building? Or do we have a way to separate people by 6 feet? And will we be requiring mask in the building?
Mr. Eisenbarth, you want to comment on that?
Yes, thank you. The Hall of Justice, obviously the court, and they still have to require their employees to wear masks. The latest documents that came out yesterday gives us an options of what we can do and what we can't do. And there's like 4, it narrowed it down to 4. Of those, one is require people to wear a mask if they've not been vaccinated. The problem is you don't know who has and who has not been vaccinated. So it's more on the honor system.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mrs. Hovey-Wright.
Yeah, as I recall, when we were discussing this whole emergency situation, there was a problem that the lawyer brought up, the woman who was advising us, that if there were too many audience members that showed up that we could not accommodate, then the meeting had to either be relocated or canceled or rescheduled. And this would, I think, be an unnecessary thing until we have no more. I mean, I think it would be a bad thing until we don't have limitations on the capacity.
Okay.
It'll cause havoc, which is
No.
what I think is the intent.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, just Commissioner Nash, just let me add something. I mean, we are planning on going back into our regular meeting session in the next 5 weeks. And we're going to have to figure out what to do if more people show up than can fit in that room according to the rules. So I think this is premature, but I know you made a motion and it's on the floor. Mr. Nash?
No, and I was just going to say the same thing. I agree with having the 2 locations on there, but I think we need to find out how we're going to actually follow through, because I'm in agreement with Commissioner Hovey-Wright. It wasn't, we couldn't relocate. We had to end the meeting. So we could be in the middle of a major meeting and things have to be done, but because capacity is out of whack, we have to shut the meeting down and we're done. We have to start over and reschedule the whole thing. And I don't want to see us get into that kind of situation and waste a whole lot of time. So I would just prefer us waiting until we got the standards and things together, maybe even get a little bit more time. And like I say, I'm fine with having 2 locations on there, but I think we need these things ironed out first.
Mr. Chair,
I have a comment too. Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, what about putting something on the front that says, you know, that the boardroom is open for the public, but it's a first come, first served basis up to 15 people or however many we can put in there.
That's an option. I mean, this is just, we've done this for over a year. We've got 5 weeks left and we have time to figure it out. We might even have to move the meetings to another location permanently. So that there's even, I mean, we don't know if maybe nobody will show up or maybe 50 people will show up. I don't know, but we can't just wait until they come. So I would prefer to just wait until it won't be more than 5 weeks. It's not very long.
How do you, what evidence do you have to suggest that this thing was flattening the curve over a year ago and then we go back to business? What makes you think this is going to end in 5 weeks?
Commissioner Laring, are you still in the boardroom?
No.
Okay, just wondered. Looks like you're in
So,
your car.
Mr. Chair, can I?
Yes, Mr. Homier.
So as the county probably knows, there were two different orders issued yesterday. One was an update to the MIOSHA rules, and the other was an update to the gathering and face mask order, which takes effect on June 1st. The interesting part about those, particularly the MDHHS order, is that there was in the May 15th MDHHS order, there was an exemption for gatherings at public meetings where there was no limitation on the numbers, but there was a 6-foot social distancing requirement, which automatically kind of reduced capacity. In the new order, it appears, and we're still going through them, but it appears that the exemption for public meetings has been stripped out of the new order that would take effect on June 1st, meaning that the capacity restrictions now, as stated in the new MDHHS order, would apply to public meetings. Those capacity restrictions are now changing to be the greater of 25 people or 50% of the rated occupancy of, say, the county boardroom. I don't know what the capacity limitation is of the county boardroom, but that now is going to be 50% or 25 people, whichever is greater. The other interesting part in the new order is, as far as I can tell, initially from when I first read it, there's no 6-foot social distancing requirement any longer either. So, it's hard to wrap your head around what this order has done now since the May order was issued, in as much as the exemption for public meetings was stripped out, as well as the 6-foot social distancing requirement. And so, like I said, we're still working our way through both of those issues. But the way I read the rule, the plain language of the new order from MDHHS, you are subject to the capacity restrictions in that order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chairman Skolnick, I have a question if I could.
Mrs.
Mike, can you tell us, does that require non-vaccinated people to wear masks?
Yes, as I recall, it would. Well, let me say this. The current order, I believe, requires a good faith requirement. So that means that unless you qualify for one of the 13 exemptions to the mask, one of which is being vaccinated, then you are required to wear a mask.
Are we capable of enforcing that at the county building?
That's a good question. So as I recall, what the order currently says, and I'll have to take a look at the new one, I believe that you meet the requirements if you make a good faith effort to comply. That good faith effort says that is defined as asking people if they've been vaccinated, putting up signs saying that unless you have one of these exceptions, you have to wear a mask, or requiring everybody to wear a mask.
Mr. Homier, are the exceptions listed? Where are those listed?
They're listed under, I believe, the sections may have changed, so let me get that for you. Hang on. I believe under the current order, it's under section 7. Hang on one second. The exceptions are listed in the current order under section 7 of the May 15th order. A through L under section 7.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just say under the current order, a good faith effort may include any of the following: posting a sign notifying people that wearing a mask is required unless a person falls into a specified exception, asking patrons not wearing masks whether they fall into a specified exception, requiring face masks of all patrons and employees, or any other policy designed to ensure compliance with Section 6A. 6A says all persons participating in indoor gatherings are required to wear a face mask.
I would hope that we would at least take every precaution to keep people safe. If that meant everybody had to wear a mask, I would be good with that.
The new order, just so you're aware, that takes effect June 1st, now revises the section number. So this would be under Section 4 of the June 1st order. It says, except as specified in Section 5 now being the exceptions, all persons participating in indoor gatherings are required to wear a face mask.
Okay.
Section 4B says a person responsible for an establishment, which includes a governmental office as defined, or an agent of such person must prohibit gatherings at their establishment unless the person makes a good faith effort to ensure that all persons at their establishment, including employees, comply with Section 4A, that being the mask requirement. A good faith effort may include any of the following: posting the sign, asking patrons, requiring face masks, or any other policy designed to ensure compliance.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mike.
so I'm afraid I've forgotten what the motion was. Linda, there's a motion on the floor, is that
There
correct?
was a motion to add the 2 locations onto the agenda.
Okay, so there was a motion made to add 2 locations. And I think we should vote on that at this point, just not far off from opening up. Yes, Marcia.
Mr. Chair, yeah, I'd just like to remind people that on the face of it, that sounds reasonable, but what it does is it could mean that we could never count on having a meeting because of how many people show up in the audience. And that will be very disruptive.
So, Mr. Chair, I feel can I make a comment regarding Marcia's comment? Mr. Chair, please.
Yeah, I muted. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Waring. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so this has been the issue. We've had, when I first became a commissioner, no one showed up. And then we get 35, and sometimes we've had over 100 or 200. This has been an ongoing problem. This isn't a COVID problem. The boardroom seats 75 people, including the commissioners. That's the fire marshal requirement. So we've had this problem in the past where we have to have a separate room or we go to another location. This isn't news. This isn't a COVID issue. This has been ongoing for over 2 years. So let's just, this is some sense of normalcy. Let's at least allow people to come in. There's a tremendous amount of people. They can't do Zoom and they want to see what's going on in their commission. It just gives them another alternative. I think it's ridiculous to think we're going to have over 60 people in the boardroom for any one meeting. So let's just get this done over.
I think maybe Zach is driving out of range to be heard.
Okay, so we have a motion to open up, do it both on Zoom and in the boardroom. And I think we've heard both sides of the argument. So Linda, if you would take a roll call. If you vote yes, you want to have in-person meetings for now, plus Zoom. If you vote no, it'll come up, eventually we'll do it, but not quite yet.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just clarify that doesn't state that the commissioners have to come back. That's just opening it up so that public that have been turned away can come, which is only a handful of people.
No, it's potentially a lot.
It could be a handful, it could be 100, we don't know.
If people don't want to come, if they feel threatened, they're not going to come, right? They're going to still do it from Zoom. This isn't eliminating the Zoom option. This is just opening it up so that some public can come.
Okay, so Linda, you have it? Okay.
Yes. Yep. Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Harvey Wright,
No,
Commissioner Hughes,
No,
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pagal,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
No.
6 yes, 3 no.
Okay, we're gonna have to figure out how that's gonna work because I'm not sure how
Mr. Chair,
people are gonna raise their hand or do all of that. We'll have to figure it out. Yes, Commissioner Nash.
I would like to make a motion that if we're going to have these dual meeting settings, that we require everyone that comes to the building for the meeting to wear a mask.
Second,
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Charles Nash, support by Commissioner Hughes, that anyone who attends an in-person meeting wear a mask.
Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, Mr. Laring. Say that
It's
again.
open for now.
We're not able to hear you very well.
At all.
I can't understand what he's saying.
He's not in the boardroom anymore. He's driving down the road.
Mr. Laring, I think it appears you're frozen.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Seer.
So this motion, basically, even though the directive from the folks says that there are exemptions, basically this motion would mean no, there are no exemptions. Is that correct?
Mr. Nash.
Mr. Chair, I made that motion as a safety precaution. We don't know how many people show up. We have employees that we have to make sure we take care of. And in spite of how we all may feel, it sounds like it is also to be a requirement, even if it's a good faith one. I think it's just good for us to make a policy as a board to wear those masks for the safety of everyone in there. That way, if the numbers do show up too big, we still have that safety precaution because social distance is not going to be a major requirement.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, may I,
Yes.
to comment?
Mr.
So Mr. Homer made a comment earlier that would the motion shouldn't be to meet current requirements and any exemptions? Maybe I'm not using the right wording, but from what I'm hearing, it's changing. So to comply to any current requirements or exemptions, you couldn't force anyone, I don't think, to wear a mask. Found those 5 exceptions that Mr. Homer explained.
Well, I would accept that as a friendly amendment.
Well,
I thought that
hang
I thought
on.
you said, Mike, I thought you said that if we decided that, that was the way it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
so
So that would be
Okay, wait,
to
wait.
Mr. Nash's amendment to it.
Over here, Mike.
Just a minute. Mike, what do you say about that?
So under the both the May 15th order as well as the order that will take effect on June 1st, in order to ensure compliance, the board may adopt a policy to require masks of anybody, of all patrons and employees. That's in the newest. In fact, that's in both orders. That would mean that is your good faith requirement in compliance with the requirements for masks. So it gives you various options. So one is by posting a sign notifying people that wearing a mask is required unless person falls into a specified exception.
Right.
The second one is asking patrons not wearing masks whether they fall into specified exceptions. Number 3, requiring face masks of all patrons and employees. Or 4, any other policy designed to ensure compliance with Section 4A, which is the general mask requirement.
Then I'll stick with the original motion since there wasn't a second. And we can make.
no,
a
I
po-
seconded it. Oh, the second to the amendment.
No,
sorry.
the amendment, that's what I meant.
Right.
And so in this.
Well, you said you would accept the friendly amendment. That's a
But
second.
it wasn't seconded, so I'm not gonna go with that. what I'm saying is that we can make this policy not only to comply, but we can also make it stronger. That is the ability that the commissioners have with these issues.
Good luck enforcing it. That's all I can say.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to require masks if you're attending the meeting in the building. That is the motion. Is that correct, Mr. Nash?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we go. Linda, roll call.
Commissioner Heavy Right,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Commissioner Seer,
No.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
5 yes, 4 no.
Okay, and now,
Wait, I have a question. With Mr. Homier. Mr.
okay,
Chair.
go ahead, Marcia.
Yeah, so what happens when more than, is it 50% capacity in the room? What do we do with the one that comes after that capacity is reached?
So that's a good question. I don't have a good answer for you, except that I would tell you, you have a couple of different options. One is to recess the meeting. If it's one person, you can direct them to the Zoom so they can link online.
Oh, we can do that. Okay.
Yes. Now, the problem becomes what happens if, let's suppose you have 75 people show up, your capacity is half of that, or 37 and a half people, we'll call it 37 for purposes of the order. And you've got to tell these other people that they cannot come in. Under that circumstance, then I would recommend you recess the meeting for a period of time to allow those people to get to a device to connect electronically so that they can participate in the meeting.
So they could do that from the parking lot.
Wherever you have access, yeah. But there would be, if you continued with the meeting while turning those folks away, they would miss a significant portion of the meeting, which I don't think is intended by the OMA.
So, Mr. Homier, so you would suggest that, say, we recess the meeting for 30 minutes to give them time to get back home or whatever they have to do,
That's correct.
not move it to another day?
No, although you could do that as well.
Mike, I have another question if I could, Chairman
Okay,
Skolnick.
Susie, yeah, go ahead.
Mike, what if we have people that refuse to wear masks? Do we have to postpone the meeting then too?
No, I think under the current order and under the order of June 1st, you can deny them service or entry based on that non-compliance.
Okay, thank you.
Unless they have an exception.
No, that's not
That's
correct.
not what we voted for exceptions. We
Okay.
voted to make it a rule.
The county commissioners do not make laws.
No, but we just made a rule.
So you don't make rules or laws. You
We
can't
just-
enforce this. Good luck. No, you don't. There is no law behind this. What are you gonna do? Call the cops?
No, we don't have to call them. They'll
This
already
isn't
be
a
here.
law. They
In the-
don't. They can't enforce their rules. Don't
Okay.
mess-
Linda, roll call vote, please.
We already voted.
We already voted,
Oh, we
Bob.
voted? Okay, we voted.
But I want to know, can we enforce the rule?
Yes, we can.
How?
Just like
can.
our attorney
Just like
just said,
we do-
you'd have to leave
Like
the
we do
room.
with the public, any other public.
They just leave the room, whoever it is.
And
Good
if
luck
we have-
excluding me from the room.
It is a policy and it can be enforced, and we could have our sheriff department enforce them.
Or a
Good
bailiff.
luck
or
with
something.
that.
You go to your car anyway.
Yeah.
Or to your farm.
Right, you're in your car anyway. What difference does it make?
They just-
I was in the board.
What we can do is adjourn the meeting.
That's true. We can adjourn the meeting.
So, and that's fine. That's fine.
Basically, we're giving permission to just be disruptive, and
We should.
that's the intent, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, so
Let's move on.
let's move on. We have a lot more to do here.
He's trying to talk.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if we were to put signs up, posted, then they would get used to the idea that they had to have them. But it should be clearly visible where they wouldn't have to ask for help.
you know what, we'll come back next week with a list of suggestions for this. We need to move on. The next item is public comment.
Oh, new business.
We just had new business.
No, we just had unfinished business.
Okay, new business. I thought that Commissioner Laring, that was new business.
Unfinished.
Seems like new business.
All right, new business. I don't see any, so now we have public comment.
Chair,
Ann Darwin,
Does she need help being unmuted?
I don't know.
She's unmuted.
And go ahead.
Ann, we're waiting. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Ann, if you come back, you can still speak. Lynn Sample. Lynn, you're gonna have to unmute, please.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
there are three of us using the same cell phone. We would be most grateful if you would allow us to speak in succession, keeping within the allotted
Yeah.
2 minutes each.
that's fine. Thank you. Whoever wants to go first, just tell us your name.
And location.
And
My
tell us
name is,
your-
I am William Hodge. I live in White River Township. And I am, need to read this if I can. We, the sovereign people living on the land of Muskegon County, Michigan, a free and independent state, in order to live together in harmony under common law of the Almighty Creator, to facilitate the avoidance of disputes, to facilitate the quick settlement of disputes which might arise, provide for organized defense of life, liberty, and private property, to protect and minister public property for the benefit of the inhabitants, to make certain limited agreements with other settlements of sovereign people for mutual benefit, ordain common accord the recognition of the following. April 18, 2021. This is our notice. Come now, inhabitants of Muskegon County, by absolute writ of habeas corpus, and with absolute resolve, rebuke all corporate authority. County Settlement Covenant in Muskegon County, original assembly and library of records on the date of 18th April 2021. Give this county settlement announcement. Muskegon County Settlement Covenant, and in harmony with all 83 counties we find, Article 1. By Almighty God granting us freedom by unanimous decree, the local peoples and local peaceful lawful assembly in Settlement Covenant, Michigan, a free and independent state, a member free and independent state with other free and independent states, also known as Republic for the United States of America.
Okay, this is, Mr. Chairman, this is Karen Palmer with Cedar Creek Township in Muskegon County.
Okay,
Can you hear me? Okay, good. Muskegon County Settlement Covenant, and in harmony with all 83 counties we find. Article 1, by Almighty God granting us freedom by unanimous decree, the local peoples and local peaceable lawful assembly in Settlement Covenant in Michigan, a free and independent state, a member free and independent states with other free and independent states, also known as Republic for the United States of America. Section 1, local people and family of man and woman centered in Almighty God live on local land and use wayland of people jurisdiction and grace affirmed by the authority of the unanimous Declaration of Independence, circa 1776, and Bill of Rights Articles the 5th, 7th, 9th, 10th, 11th, C 1787 to 1791, R 2010, and beyond the reach of predator others, and also living in friendship and peace treaties, C 1789, 1791, and beyond beyond the reach of predator others, and also affirmed by Article 7, General Provisions, Section 18, C 1908, Michigan Constitution, and the Covenant of Michigan, a free and independent state, circa 2010. Notice to the people is notice to the agent. Notice to the agent is notice to the principal. The entire document will be viewed at the Muskegon County Librarian or by internet at www.michigandejure.org. Due to the length of the document, it will be placed on public record, full and complete for this meeting, so it can be transferred to, if and when needed, and for public viewing for when requested. A paper copy, certified true and correct, will be sent via registered mail and available at the Muskegon County Courthouse for both the County Commission Chairman and the County Clerk. And I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there more? Is there anyone else?
And
And Derwin? I think they're done. Okay. Is there anyone else for public comment?
Ann Derwin must be having a problem. Her name is back up. Can we unmute her, please?
She's unmuted.
It's unmuted.
Okay. Ann, are you there?
now
And,
she's-
and I don't know what else to do. She's unmuted. She's had several opportunities.
And she's done this before, so she does know how to do it.
Okay, who's ever on a phone that ends in 323, go ahead. Unmute. You need to unmute and speak.
Hi, this is Michelle Mixa calling from Dalton Township. I'm calling with two things. The first is that I don't know I'm actually very emotional about it. I don't exactly know how to word it, but I'll just say that I'm offended to think that a medical exemption for mask would prevent me from my constitutional right of looking my commissioners in the eye and petitioning my government.
Okay. You're muted. There you go. You've still got some.
Hi, did you hear anything I said?
Yes, we did.
Okay. The second thing that I have to say is that 2 minutes is not very much time to give a public comment to our commissioners, to the people who I would guess would want to know what we think. And I would really like to see more time given for public comment so that we can fully express ourselves. At this point, between the mask exemptions being denied and 2 minutes of public comment, it really does not feel like you want to hear what your constituents think. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to final board comments.
I do have some final board comments, Bob, if I
Okay,
might.
yes, Mrs. Hughes, go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to invite all of you to the Silver Sides on Sunday at 11 o'clock is the Lost Boat ceremony. We did not have one last year, but we will this year. The first one I attended, there were a lot of World War II vets. The last couple of years we're down to 5 or 6, but it's a really, really wonderful thing, especially for the kids to see. It starts at 11 o'clock on this coming Sunday, if you're interested in that. And second of all, I'd like to let the people know that feel like they don't have enough time to talk to us. All of our telephone numbers are posted. They're welcome to call us individually if they've got something to, rather than talk on here where, they feel like they're limited. You can call and talk as long as you want to us. So, that's really not an issue.
Okay, thank you, Susie. Oh, by the way, Susie, are they going to take the Silver Sides out for a cruise this year?
No, they're not going to take it out for a cruise, but you're welcome to go down and tour it. We do have, usually on the weekends, we have Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts that spend the night on there on the boat. So.
Okay, is there
But you'll be
any?
able to tour it on Sunday if you want.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Mr. Chair, I do have a final comment if I may.
you may.
Okay, so thank you. First of all, I happened to go out to dinner Friday night at the Norton Shores Boat Club. It was a very interesting experience. I went down to the tiki bar on the lake and found one of our state reps there mingling, socializing, complete capacity, and a couple of other elected officials down there. Not a mask in sight. And then I went up to have dinner with some friends and saw some fellow commissioners up there. I won't mention names, but mingling with large groups of people, no social distancing, and not a mask in sight. So I'm not quite sure why we're trying to project safety at commission meetings, and then we're living our life. It seems very hypocritical, just like our governor's action over.
Marcia, do you?
Yeah, just to respond to that.
I have one more comment.
Oh, wait a minute, Marcia. I thought he was done. Go ahead.
The comment is to my fellow commissioners. I think you better take heed to some of the public comments.
Okay, Marcia Hovey Wright.
Yeah, just for Mr. Laring's information, there's a huge difference in the safety when you're outside and inside. And the rules that we made for commission meetings were for inside. It's a huge difference in the transmittability of the vaccine. So that's why.
Well, that's fine, but the Norton Shores inside and outside. There were commissioners.
All right.
Yeah, I can't speak for them.
Commissioner Laring and Marcia Hovey Wright.
I'm done.
We're going to end the final board comments, and I need a motion to go into closed session.
I move that we enter into closed session to discuss confidential settlement strategy with Muskegon County's attorney on case number 1:19-CV-940, Heathis versus County of Muskegon, ETAL, because this discussion in the open record will have a detrimental financial effect on the litigation or settlement position of Muskegon County pursuant to MCL 15.268H and MCL 15.2431G.
Support.
Okay, roll call, please, Linda.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash.
Yeah.
Commissioner Pago. Commissioner Pago. Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Sorry, yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
9 yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
sorry, I just noticed something and I just want to correct the record if I can. Can you pull up the agenda for me one more time? So this, the citation to MCL 15.268H is to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute, which may apply to a written confidential legal opinion. But the language of the motion is actually to go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268 subparagraph E, small e, to consult with its attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with the specific pending litigation. So I just wanted to make that clear that that needs to be included within the purposes for the closed session in the minutes, that you have a citation that doesn't match up with the purpose as stated in the motion.
Okay, so Mr. Homier, should that be changed in the, how should we deal with that before we go into closed session?
Well, I think the language speaks for itself. I would consider the reference to 15.268H to be a typographical error. That should be 15.268E.
E, okay. Linda, can you fix that?
Yes, we will be sure to note that in the minutes.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. All right, and now we need a roll call.
We already did that.
Yep, you already voted.
We already voted, okay. So, who's ever getting us into a private room? Okay, you should be invited to join the room, hit join.
Sorry, I have a question because I don't have any. I don't have, I didn't get an email. So normally I get an email before the meeting, I didn't see anything come through. So I'll see if I can- Okay. So are you, Linda, are we attached to this or do I use my iPad? Oh, okay, sorry.
Well, I just don't know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was not sure who to ask.
So you have to talk on there because.
Okay, that's fine, just so I know.
Recording stopped.
That's this part that's being recorded. I can't hear. Ask her to add
About this case again today. I think you
Use the boardroom or put them into the private session.
background, the factual background of the case, it's a little complicated. So I'm going to refresh your memory about that. But before I do, I want to tell you why we're meeting today.
Looks like we're ready. Go ahead.
Now I make a motion that we go back in open session.
Second. Support, Hovey Wright.
We have a motion to go back into open session. It's been supported. If there's no discussion, Linda, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I move we adjourn. It's adjourned to the call of the chair, so we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great holiday weekend, everyone.
Yes, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
Stay safe.
Yes, you too.
Today. Hmm? Don't we have a meeting?